Aloha, everyone. HSRN's Paul Brecht here for another episode of our OIH College Athlete Series. Got another silver sword lined up for this one, another elite silver sword at that. Joining me now on the Hawai'i Sports Radio Network, the all-time leader for the Silver Swords in fielding percentage, putouts. She puts double plays down like it's her job, a whiz with the glove, and a mainstay in the infield for Chaminade, a 2019 graduate of Mililani High School who just completed her fourth season for Chaminade. Silver Swords Platinum Glove first baseman, Kobe Brown. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you so much.
How you feeling? How's your summer been? Done anything super fun recently comes to mind?
I've just been relaxing, kind of taking a break from softball. I know like when I get into season, my whole mindset is that. So I tried to focus on myself this past season because last season was kind of heartbreaking if you look back at, this season. But something exciting is I just moved into my new apartment. I'm in it right now. So that's something I've been looking forward to my whole life. So that's something exciting.
That is exciting. Are you living by yourself? You living with some teammates? How you get to decorate your own place now, or is that something you're excited for?
Yeah, I'm just starting that. We just got a couch yesterday. I'm living with my boyfriend. So our first place, it's exciting.
That's very exciting. Congratulations. Well, I suppose that's enough about the summer. You said you've been focusing on yourself, but obviously I'm here to really bring it back, and we're going to talk about you still, but some sports stuff with you and some academic stuff as well. Before we get going, I want to give the beautiful people some quick fun facts about you. I mentioned it before. You're really a platinum glover over there at first base. You have 6 career errors in total in your time at Chaminade, which is an insane amount considering the amount of activity you get as a first baseman. You're just kind of a wall that catches everything over there. It's really cool to see. 4-time academic All Pac West selection. You've had 10 starts at first base before COVID, and obviously got to experience what it was like to be an athlete during that time, or a college athlete during that time. And then you really took over as the full-time first baseman in 2021, second all-time for Chaminade, and double plays turned with 34, a career on-base percentage of 369. This past season, you said it was a little bit heartbreaking, but also you did have a career-high 34 hits, a career-high 14 RBI. So as you've shown throughout your career, you continue to get better every single year. Back in high school, an OIA honorable mention both in your junior and senior seasons, graduated magna cum laude, and you also went to Mary Knoll for the first 2 years of high school. So something I'll want to get into, as well as you ended up graduating from the OIA's Mililani. Obviously a mouthful there, talked a bunch. Enough from me. Let's talk a little bit about you. You're a big-time softball player now, but that journey had to start somewhere. How were you first introduced to softball? When did the journey begin, and how did the journey begin?
It's an interesting story, actually. So I was around 4 years old when I started playing baseball, and I started playing baseball because I was being babysat at this woman's house. I'll just say my babysitter. And she had a grandson that lived with her. And then every day he would take me out in the yard and we'd play baseball because he played baseball at the time. He would teach me how to throw. So we'd throw all day. I remember hitting on the tee, just everything about it. My love came from just that little small interaction that, I'm very fortunate to have, experienced. So yeah, I started playing baseball at 4 because, I loved it from just playing around in the yard with my babysitter's grandson. And then, so yeah, I played baseball since I was 4. And then my mom put me into softball at 6 because that's just like the thing you do, she knew that, girls really don't play baseball for so long. So I started softball around 6 years old, played baseball and softball all the way. I played baseball until I was in middle school, and then I just kept playing softball.
So because that I've heard that story a couple of times from a few softball players in terms of having experience playing some baseball. It- How did the two sports compare playing them at I'll say same time, but being able to participate in both? Did you prefer baseball at any point and kind of continued with softball just because that was the norm, or did softball end up winning out for some reason? Like you just enjoy softball more?
I definitely liked baseball more in the beginning. Um, I know it's interesting, but I didn't really see a difference. Really, I think maybe because I started with baseball, I kind of enjoyed it more. And then starting softball was kind of hard for me because I didn't have any friends to start with because the girls started when they were younger, so I kind of joined a team that was already formed. In comparison to baseball, I had friends, and the boys are pretty similar to the girls. So
It's
yeah.
understandable. So you mentioned playing a couple sports there, although they're from the same vein, I guess, in baseball and softball. Did you play other sports growing up as well outside of those two?
Hard to believe, but I actually played soccer for a while too. So if you see
Soccer.
me, you're not
Tell,
going to
tell,
think I played soccer, but I did.
tell us about that soccer experience. How long did you play soccer for? What point did you stop? Have you stopped?
Yes, I have stopped. Played for a while. I think like a couple years, like 6 or 7 years. Wasn't the best at it, but there was a point in my life where I had to decide between soccer and softball, and so I went with softball. So I
Did
think
you
I would
find it seemed to work out pretty well for you? I would
thank God.
suppose. Did you find it at any point like helpful in your athletic development? Do you find like looking back at those soccer days, did anything you did help you now as like a first baseman or in your hitting or anything like that?
Definitely conditioning, obviously, learning how to run, coordination, teamwork, obviously. I did play a little bit of goalie, so maybe that contributed to being able to block at first base.
Yeah, your reaction time's got to be pretty darn good if you're back there protecting the net as well. Well, so the focus of this series, I've mentioned it a couple of times. It's on former OIA athletes who have made it to the college ranks and ended up being successful. So, as you look back at your time at Mililani, what did they do that helped prepare you and helped give you the tools to be successful as you continued to go on both athletically and academically?
Okay. Yeah, I think back a long time because I'm a fifth year in college. So uh, Mililani, I loved my experiences there. Of course, they taught me a lot about the game, but most importantly, something that I took forward, into college with Mililani was they taught me how to have fun with the game. Like we would sometimes we would play like games. We would play kickball for practice. I don't know if I'm supposed to say that, but we would, and we would have so much fun. And they taught me, the game isn't, it's easy to get so like down on yourself in softball. It's a very tough, mentally, tough sport. So I think something that I took forward from Mililani was definitely learning to have fun with the game, playing loose, trusting your teammates. We did a lot of team building activities. Yeah, just fun. That's really what I took from Mililani, and that's why I keep coming back for more at Chaminade. Softball is such a fun sport, and I think keeping that in the front of my mindset is what's keeping me going because it's easy to give up on yourself in a sport that's mainly about failure. So yeah,
Eh,
so I'm thankful for Mililani.
You bring up a really solid point in terms of the sport that you play is one that is really predicated on a lot of failure oftentimes. You talk about having fun. For younger athletes listening in, or if you were able to go back to a younger you, if it was something that frustrated you, how or what would you tell them to focus on while trying to have fun in such a grueling sport at times, a sport that'll test you mentally at times?
I would like tell them my experience. I failed like way more times than I've ever succeeded. And, you talk about, the things that I was able to accomplish, but I think I was able to do those things because I knew that failure was a part of the sport, just embrace it, learn from it. That's all you can do. You can't really prevent making mistakes because I've made so many. I made 6 in college, but yeah, just it's supposed to be fun. I really hope, I hope to coach one day, and I hope like that's what I teach my team, just to have fun, play loose. It's not supposed to be something that's stressful because we play this sport to have fun, that's why we play it. And yeah, that's what I would say. It should never be bigger than what it should be. Like, I don't know what to say.
I think that's really good advice though. And I think that's a point that can sometimes be lost in the competitiveness of
Yeah.
sports, where at the end of the day, as much as you do want to win, it is about having fun. It's an activity that builds you as a person far more than whatever the result ends up being. Speaking of building as a person, I mentioned it at the top. You're somebody who has had a couple of different experiences, spent your first couple of years in high school at Maryknoll, and then ended up moving to Mililani. Obviously, two different leagues there. You have the ILH and the OIA. When you look back, did you notice many differences, any hardships moving to an OIA school, or was it kind of similar in terms of what your experiences were? How do you look back on those two experiences, comparing the two?
Yeah, I believe I'm very lucky to have experienced the 2 leagues and see, the differences between, but I wouldn't really say there was too many differences. Obviously, Maryknoll has a lot of money. We got a lot of different opportunities, from even transportation was different, like from practices and like games. We got to ride in a nicer bus, but it's like it's not even a big thing. But at Mililani, yeah, I got everything that I ever could have wanted out of Mililani. The main difference I'd say between the two though is pride. Going to like playing for my home school and having Mililani across my chest and playing for the community that I grew up in. It was a different feeling, and I had a lot of pride when I was playing for Mililani. Not that I didn't have pride representing Maryknoll, but I think it was a different experience having played with the girls that I grew up around, and yeah, representing Mililani where I grew up. So it just meant a little bit more to me.
It definitely seems just at least a hair more special when you're able to put on for your hometown, especially. That's kind of been a big topic throughout this series that I've focused on as well, and it kind of gives us a nice little segue here. And I'll stop asking you to think so far into the past now. We'll get into college a bit. How'd you come to Chaminade? How did you end up playing for the Silver Swords? The program, how were you recruited? Were you recruited? Take us through how that all ended up being, as you're now one of the better first basemen to ever come through the program.
Yeah, okay. This is an interesting story as well. I actually committed to 2 schools before Chaminade. So when I was a senior, I committed to a college in the mainland. I signed and everything. I did the whole signing ceremony. And then it wasn't until graduation, it was literally my graduation day, when I realized that maybe I don't want to go away, because I was able to see my family. They all came and supported me. And I knew that that's something that I didn't want to miss. And, I decided I wanted to stay home. So I started looking at the 3 schools in Hawaii. I actually verbaled to another school. I won't say the name, but yeah, I verbaled to another school in Hawaii, and then Chaminade kind of fell in my lap. I really don't remember how I ended up at Chaminade, but I'm very thankful. I remember talking to Coach Kent on the phone one time, and then I really liked him and his philosophy and his coaching style. And then my teammate on the team right now, we're best friends, and we decided to come to Chaminade together. That's really long story short. We just decided to follow each other. And yeah, we ended up at Chaminade.
Relationships go a long way, whether that be family ones or friend ones. So I was going to ask what it was like having local support and if that had factored into your decision to stay home, but it sounds like it definitely did. As you look back at your time in college and after making that decision, can you take us through what it's been like having that local support, having your friends and family still around, and you know, if you think about that against potentially going to the mainland, it just how thankful are you for how things ended up?
I'm so thankful. You have no idea. I believe everything happens for a reason. And so I'm so thankful that Chaminade fell into my lap. I have my family at every game. Even when we travel, they're there. So yeah, it's just a different feeling, and being able to play with like these girls are my best friends. Like we'll be best friends in like forever, I believe. So just having so many good, positive relationships at Chaminade is something that I'm very thankful for, and I'm very thankful to be able to play in front of my family. I just feel very lucky.
I totally get that. I think it's a cool thing to be able to stay home and continue your athletic career. Well, of course, your academic career continues as well, and that's where I'll take us next. I mentioned a four-time All-Pac West academic selection. You're somebody who takes business in the classroom pretty seriously, it seems. Give the beautiful people an idea of what you have gone to school for, because I believe, if I remember our conversation correctly, you might have graduated this past spring and now you're looking for a master's degree or something like that.
Yeah. Okay. I just graduated with my bachelor's in psychology and education. Yeah, that was hard, but I did it. Um, yeah, I'm getting my master's in counseling psychology as we speak. And yeah,
What
it's going.
ins- what inspired you to go towards that direction? What made you want to go into you mentioned the specificity of counseling itself. What inspired you to pursue that? Was there something that inspired you?
Definitely. So I love my mom. My mom is my biggest inspiration, and I love her, and she works in education. So I always knew that I would follow in her footsteps and work in education. Um, Psychology was a course that I took in high school, and I really, really loved it. I love everything about learning about behavior and like why we do the things that we do. And so I kind of combined the two, which is psychology and education. And I settled on counseling. I think that's a key. Those two components are key in counseling. So yeah, just being able to help students. I know when I was young, I didn't get that opportunity to. I didn't have really good counselors, which is sad. So I definitely want to change that mindset and yeah, just help students in every aspect. Yeah,
I,
it's kind of why I
I
wanted
think
to.
that's super admirable, and I don't think anybody listening should find it to be a major surprise where inspiration can come from mom and come from real close to home, especially considering being able to stay home and play and all that. Before we go, one, I want to say thank you so much. You've been so gracious with your time today. I want to give you the floor, give you the opportunity to give a shout out to anybody back home in Mililani, whether that be a teacher, a coach, a parent, uh, a janitor, whoever it may be, someone who stands out to you and really helped you to get where you are. I know you said your mom, you can give her another shout out if you'd like. Is there anybody else as well who stand out and really deserve to know?
Firstly, thank you for interviewing me. So shout out to you, Paul. Shout out to all my club coaches, there's so many, they know who they are. I'm so thankful for everything they've given me and, molded me to the person I am today. Shout out to Coach Rose at Mililani and all the rest of the Mililani coaching staff. And shout out to my teammates now and Coach Kent. I miss them and can't wait to get started for this year.
Awesome. Hey, one more time, thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it. One of the more interesting conversations we've been able to have. And one last time for everybody listening in, Chaminade first baseman and platinum glover, Kobe Brown. Thank you so much.